Hello, everybody, and welcome to Total Annihilation Replays. Today, I'm bringing you game number 6 in the Postal versus Aprox Best of 10. I am Postal, and so this is my personal best of 10 between myself and N1 Aprox of the number 1 clan. And we are on to my pick. So right now, as it stands, the series is 2-5, as Medmo said in the pre-chat of this, to the Dutch. So Aprox currently has the lead, and it is my pick, and I have picked Lusch Puppy. This is one of my favorite maps from OTA. It's not exactly a balanced map. It has some asymmetries, particularly this little lump right here, which makes it so that there's less space to build on the left side. And interestingly enough, it's one of those maps that I like to think as being relatively balanced between arm and core. So a map like the Pass actually heavily favors core, but this particular map, I think it actually plays somewhat even. Now, arm has advantages with Farks, and I see. So the bad news for me here is that you know how to play this one. Yeah, so arm kind of has some advantages with Farks and Big Bertha, but core has, of course, the Shadow and the Thud. So I said I have to put my game hat on. This map, of my picks, I actually said it in the chat. I said this is one where I think you have a good chance of beating me. I believe actually my best of 10 with RVD, this is one of the ones that I picked and I lost, which was a darn shame. Aprox says he might actually win this one because this is a normal map where shore to shore. And the Pass are not. And I say it is not a normal map because you can't use flashes. He says no more talking. And I say, why not? Of course, because if I keep him typing, then that means he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. I say, this is how I play the game. I can't click fast, so I type fast. So we're both doing a pretty standard start here. Aprox has done 3 solars, 3 mexes. I've done the same thing. So we're both going to end up now with the faster walking arm Khan. He will actually have me beat. So he gets the that down. And am I stalling on something? No. I'm wondering why I'm so much slower here. Might have been the route that I took too. He says, oh man, the E story. Yeah, the energy is a little bit harder to combine this. This is a solar map. We'll get this going here because I think this one... So I'm worried about him going air, so I'm going to drop a quick missile tower. Air first is possible here. Because there's enough trees to kind of supply your air plant. So he's already got 2 cons out to my 1. So he's actually doing quite a bit better than I am at this point. The objective when you're playing Lusch Puppy here is you want to get your resources capped as fast as possible. Now he could go K-Bot, even in OTA. The fleas can still climb this hill and get from one side to the other and just start causing problems. They're not very strong. They die very easily to missile towers, but that still is enough to slow the expansion. The problem is that, of course, K-Bots on Lusch Puppy, the cons don't move or build particularly fast, so you want to have vehicles. So you can see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 cons out to my 1, 2, 3, and I'm working on a 4th at this point. Now he built a Samson, so that's going to slow him down on getting his 5th. You can see this isn't just you take 1 and then you have it do the entire loop. You kind of spread out your cons to try and get this capped as fast as possible. I watched an old game of Mia and Diablo on this one. This particular game was played in 2008 as part of a best of 10. But I watched an old game of this between me and Diablo in 2005. And both of us would have lost to 2008 me very handily. Although Diablo won the game back then. Just my efficiency on this map greatly improved. So, working on another con. You can see I'm getting some solars out down here. Aprox has already walked his com over here to the water. Titles are good here. I think we can... Oh no, that's not the wrong one. There it is. Yeah, 18 for the titles. So they're definitely efficient here. But there's just not that much space for them. But they're good, especially since they cost less metal than the solars. You can see I'm starting to work on a K-bot over here. Aprox is not doing that. He built a few solars, reclaiming some trees, getting his missile towers up, because of course he knows that I will be bombing him. One con for the ramp up here. This radar is just to be keep an eye out in case he decides to try and walk his comm up and over this hill. That does happen. People do it. I don't think it's the best strategy. Usually what you can do is you can walk your comm right up there, just degun their factory, and then you're going to be in better shape. So vehicle cons can't get to this particular this mechs right here, so I had to walk my commander over to it. He's already C, so he's actually ahead of me at this point. And I have got all of my metal except for one capped there, and he has got these two here he hasn't finished yet. So you can see we're very even on the resources at this point. I'm actually a little bit ahead. Oh no, sorry. Well, he's did he reclaim? No. Okay. So he's ahead on the count, but as far as getting everything capped, I think I get him beat on this. Yes, so I've got everything capped before he does. So there you go. I'm pushing out my C-cons. You want to make sure the goal of these guys, cap these guys, and then you want to really boost the resources in here. You can see no shots fired. This is just a quiet building moment here. I am building thuds, however. See, he's hooked some missile towers, getting ready for the air defense. Very nice right here, making good use of that space. See, I've got some missile towers up. These are more spread out. Got to have missile towers in the back. That first bomber oftentimes will come off screen off the top side. People will only have their air defense up here, and then you can completely bomb all these back mexes right here. So, doing a quick little thud raid. I send 4 thuds over the hill. You can see I park them right here, and then I just shoot. I aim right there to get them just to lob their shells over. And I'm trying to tag that metal extractor and then also just whatever this stuff is, because these missile towers can't hit them. See, now he's force firing the there, so here you go. So I've successfully just took 2 mexes out there, and I haven't fed him any of this metal yet. They don't quite have the range to be able to reach that. Very unfortunate for me. So he gets a Samson around here. And you can see here he's got capping his metal right there. I'm capping mine, and I'm also going advanced. I don't have my topside cap, so I think that's probably a mistake on my part. We need to get that taken care of. But I have a ton of metal. So he sends some flashes in. You can see I move the thud to the metal patch right here, so that way it dies, and I don't leave too many wrecks. So 300 metal worth of wrecks over there. I probably did about that in damage, so not too bad. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cons out, and I'm now reclaiming my shipyard. The other disadvantage for core here is core titles are bigger, so you can fit fewer of them in the same amount of space. You can see Aprox has already got his advanced shipyard up, and he's got his first Colossus out. So he's actually quite a bit ahead on the resource race at this point. I am just slow. Working on advanced on the land. See, I get some thuds up here, and I am just trying to lob these shells down on his metal extractors. This is how I am annoying. Right there, you can see, just clear one of the metal extractors, lobbing them right here. This defender is going to go down. And then here he goes. He flies bombers up there to try and shoot him down. This is exactly what I want. I want his bombers distracted with these silly thuds. I don't want them. I don't want them bombing me instead. So he's air. He's got his bombers out, but he is attacking thuds on a hill. You see, I'm working on my first hive. You say, crap, I'm not paying attention. So you see, this is a really nice little raid here. Not leaving him anything. I'm accessing metal. That's what I'm actually referring to. This is a very important game, the best of 10 here. If I win this one, then we'll move to 3-3, and that means on Aprox's poll, where the best option for me was 7-3, he'll have to win the remaining games of the series for his trash talk to come through. Bombers come through, he takes out my air plant. My advanced vehicles is done. The reason for going advanced vehicles is because as core, the advanced K-bots don't work. So you can't use them to mass guard air. So you got to use advanced vehicle cons if you want to guard air. Necros have the same issue. They don't work as far as actually. They just start partway through the repair or whatever it is they're doing, and then they just stop working. They're very lazy. See, now I finally got everything capped here. That's certainly not to my advantage. My energy's under control. I've got one hive out to his 2. See, his commander has come back on land, and he is working on getting some farms out so that way he can take control of the skies. So I'm being very annoying, denying him 2 metal extractors with my thuds. I have more and more thuds that I'm just sending up on the hill. Part of the reason for them being there is they're actually going to be line of sight for my rows and rows of missile towers here. You can see I'm actually a little bit lacking in air defense in the back. Aprox, on the other hand, is completely loaded up with missile towers ready for those offering bombers, working at another advanced shipyard in the south side. Now matched him in hives. See, I've already started my Moho Metal Maker. I will spark that to get that going beforehand, before it's actually finished. Aprox scouting again. See, we're somewhat close on resources here. There he goes. You can see I've now shot that, and it opens up, and so now I am got it sparked. Here come his bombers for his bombing run. Marks my advanced vehicle. See how I kind of dodged my comp down just in case he was going for it. I quickly need to put that regular air plant back up. Again, shadows are going to be my primary source of offense here. I go ahead, I send in my scouts, mark out the missile tower lines, mark the air facility. Part of the reason for having these thuds up here too is that his missile towers were busy trying to shoot the thuds, and so they didn't shoot what they needed to. Brought his comm over here to build these, but the metal extractor goes down once again. He's also dropped a con to the thuds, just raining shots down. I know how to be annoying. Brack's got his own sparked Moho Metal Maker going over there. You can see right now our income is pretty even. I'm at 75, he's at 78. More thuds, just kind of spreading them out. And he started his advanced air. I'm going to go in here for the advanced vehicle. That's taken out. Not a bad run for him. Marks the advanced shipyard. I've got 4 hives to his 5. Well, I've got 5 to 5, basically. Sorry. Miscount. Still a very postal-ish map, even though it was much more popular out of the rest of the maps that I chose. See, here I go. I've got the 4 advanced vehicles on this. That's the standard. You can see I've also got my advanced air done with 3 advanced vehicles on it. So I'm scouting here, trying to find some stuff to destroy. And here goes stacked run. Take a swing at his commander and miss. close, although I don't know if there were enough in that stack. Let's see, yeah, he only got nicked by it, so. Whenever I see a commander and I've got a bomber stack, I would just always sling bombs at them. That's part of the reason why I didn't really go for this air plant. I wanted to take the angle here, so I hit the vehicle plant first. Not that he's really planning on replacing that. See, I've reclaimed my vehicle plant. I feel like I've got enough of those. No mohos in OTA. They're just not really, they're not really worth it compared to what we've got going on here with the mobile metal. Flying in from the bottom side. And he takes out my advanced shipyard, which leaves no wreck. Certainly not advantageous to me. Start replacing it on the top side. See, I got another advanced vehicle on the north. More raining shells all the time. So he's got his advanced shipyard on both sides. This is a nice little lump. You can see I marked one of them. It's funny now, me watching this being like, oh man, what I do, just off-screen a stack, drop the bombs right here, and then swing back in. It would be perfect. Just take out all 9 of those. No problems. So he's got his Hawks up. Hawks are very important on Lusch Puppy. They're going to be your primary defense against things coming over the hill. You don't want to have to spend anything in resources. You can see I'm flying these over. I anticipate that he's got, you can see I just highlight all that. In comes the bomber. My commander dodges. He doesn't get anything for it. But he does come on and get the, there you go, he comes in and he gets the advanced vehicle plant. I'm happy to keep rebuilding this one down here. I've got this one up there that's going to be working. So I've got some vamp production going. Got one aircraft facility with parts, and here goes the other stack. So of course, having scouted what I know, what I want to get, drop the bombs. Take out all those carriers with the stack. Didn't get the advanced shipyard though. Just kidding. Definitely an excellent run for me right there, and that's just the power of those stacks. See, I've dipped my commander in the water here. I'm starting to worry that he's gonna be able to snipe it. He's got some Hawks. I bring in my vamps just to try and keep his Hawk numbers down. I overextend there right there. That was not a good use of them. There's no reason for me to get over his AA, especially since even though I have 2 to his 1 factory, he's going to be able to build those Hawks faster than I can. Build the vans. See, I've got a second factory building stack bombers. Nice little run by Airpacks there. It takes out the 2 air factories. That'll slow down the stacks from the bottom side and will not stop them from this new stacking location I've got on the top. So I was working on aircon so that way I could pump out more build power. Again, because I don't have FFARCs, it's a little difficult to get things guarding ground facilities. He's slowly creeping ahead in resources, but again, we're mostly staying pretty even here. He's got that moho shut down over here, whereas I've got all these operational down here. Another stacked run. That was not a good one. I don't think that one had enough bombers. That was a leftover stack from the fact that they got destroyed. For those who don't know, the way I keep track, oh yeah, he brought in his hogs down here to take care of some things. I brought my vamps in, was able to save some of them. So he's trying to get me back for eliminating his sea resources on the top side. He's got some flak here. That won't really help him with the stacks. And I've got a massive Thud army. You might be wondering, why isn't Aprox going Big Bertha? Because of the stacks. Here comes the bombers. I see the bombers, so I bring in the vamps. He might get that. He does not. So the goal here is just to try and take over some space on his side. Use the vamps to destroy things. Use the thuds to distract the missile towers. More vamps. See, I've got an advanced air down here, building more vamps. So he's got 2 advanced air factories, and he's still able to outproduce me in Hawks. To my 1, 2, 3, 4. Take out that with a stack, with a bomber stack. There you go. Now he's finally working another advance there. He's got a fusion up now that he just built over here, so he doesn't have everything in the sea. Where I have the majority of my resources still in the water, so they're an easier target. See, I'm just marking everything. Down here, I find these, mark them out. Just tons of anti-air by Aprox here. See how they can get a little bit jammed up sometimes? You can get about 4 advanced construction vehicles. Depending on what you're building. 3 will always work, 4 will sometimes cause a problem, but that's usually what I go for, is trying to go for, especially if there's no obstructions. You can see right here I've got 4 around it. That's how you do it. Incoming bombing run. Much better by Aprox this time. Takes out the Intimidator that I was building. I mostly build those just something to get his attention. I don't build them because I think they're particularly good, I just want him to attack them and leave my airplanes alone. Again, it's just coated with missile towers, cool Nick style right here. Very tidy building. See, I've been kind of much the same. I've got rows, double rows of missile towers as my primary air defense. You see, he hasn't scouted up here, so he's kind of missing this little, all the stuff, and I'm happy to just kind of rebuild here and have him ignore that stuff up north. So I've got 1 factory just building scouts. There came a stack. It was not particularly good. I didn't get anything for it. He's waiting for it to reappear here. But it reappears on the bottom. And I take out 2 of the carriers. This 1 stack right here. This has got to have close to 30 bombers in it by now. So you can see I've cranked out a Hedgehog, which is a mobile anti-nuke, to make it difficult for him to kill. I don't know if he did the same over here, but here comes his bombing run. K-Bot doesn't quite get the advance. He's going to have to come back on the screen. He turns around. He's probably planning on going for some resources, but then swing back to take care of that. See, I built a Moho. I don't even know if it paid for itself. It got bombed. Working on another fusion here. You can see I've slowly started catching back up in resources. He's been focusing on bombing my factories. I've been focusing on taking care of his resources. factories when it's applicable. I'm just trying to save up enough vamps too. You can see my vamp army is getting slowly but surely bigger. Scouts with some hawks. Some thuds get a little too close and get absolutely annihilated. I march these guys in. You see I've got a nice big hawks vamp swarm. So I'm trying to use the thuds for the line of sight. I want to clear his hawks down. Like I said, it does take me longer to build them. Incoming bombing run. Again, he takes out that Intimidator under construction. For the thuds, now I've actually made some progress. Kinda got them pushed out of this little territory down here. But they're just marching to their death now. Rebuild my air, rebuilding my bomber stacks. Rebuilding a moho. See all these moho metal makers down here just coming off of the energy that's being produced from this giant brick. So here goes this giant stack. See how it got kind of spread out, so it ended up getting destroyed a little bit faster. So I didn't move it off of the first iteration here correctly, but it still managed to do a decent hit there. Took out 2 plants. He's rebuilding his sea resources here. He's got his second fusion up. Let's see, he's got one there and one there. So he's back ahead of me in resources. 1, 2, 3 advanced air plats on his side. Scouts again. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I off-screen some vamps. Trying to clear his carriers down here with the vamps. They got another one. And he manages to wipe out my vamps, but I get a decent number of his carriers. I don't know why he tries to do much the same. I bring in my new vamps to try and thin his hawks down. He takes out some of my carriers. He sinks all of the south ones. At this point, I'm now stalling on energy, so my resources have definitely plummeted. But I still have this brick on the north side that he hasn't scouted. And what's he building here? So now he's working on a flagship to protect that. I'm rebuilding my sea down on this side. Got my energy situation under control. Nice little run by Airpex there. Completely takes out all my advanced air up on the hill. Still getting this Intimidator though. And he's working on a nuke. Wipe out his advanced air. Of course, I'll be coming back on. Destroying more of his sea resources. Commander is going for a little stroll here. Didn't have enough bombers left in the stack to take care of more. As you can see, his cloakable fusions are now blinking because he's short. He's low on energy, so he'll have to get that corrected. He'll have to turn off some mohos. A lot of this is down to patience. You can see he's leveled off now at 138 metal. I have stopped at 147. The stack's a little bit fanned, but I still managed to take out 2 anti-aircraft. You notice all of this anti-air that I just fly over and still managed to hit my targets. So he's working on an anti-nuke. So I get these guys out and I can reclaim. But you can see I'm maxed out on metal at this point. I'm not spending it fast enough. So replacing my advanced air will certainly help that, though. He spies my hedgehog and he marks it. Now I should know to keep that thing on patrol, but I do not. So right now that's vulnerable. But I am working on an intimidator, and that's where I'm putting my extra metal. Intimidators aren't particularly great. He spies my commander out, but does not go for it. My commander instead goes for a walk. He takes out the anti-nuke instead. And his nuke is getting close to being finished, so now I'm in danger. But I have an intimidator up. It will take a long time before it can shoot anything. You can see I'm also working on a nuke of my own. Again, this is all very, very easy to bomb. I have very little anti-air up here. He just has not scouted it. He's kept all his focus down here. I said, I told you you'd win this. You can really think at this point. Yep, he's ahead by about 9,000 metal. In comes bombers. Takes out the 2 advanced air. And the intimidator opens fire. That's very lucky. Especially so early in the intimidator's life. He scouts, he finds the intimidator and marks it. Calls it a BB. I spy the nuke there with my bombers, so now I know I've got something that really needs to be bombed. Shouldn't be hard for me to get with the stacks, though. I also start shooting at it with my intimidator. There comes a nice big stack. It's got these flagships down here. I'm planning on coming all the way around from the backside. He knows it. He brings his hawks over. Still flying. Just see that. Just flying over his. I flew over 2 flagships, all over his missile towers, through his hawks, over the flackers, and still managed to come all the way up here. So I said, bomber stacks own. He's coming in to get the Big Bertha. His nuke is down. Coming in from the bottom side, I don't have any protection on it. But I have a second intimidator up. He did not get it. So now at this point, he stopped bombing my airplanes and my advanced vehicles. And he's stopped looking for my resources. He's focusing on these intimidators. I scout. Intimidator actually scores a hit. See, at this point, it's got 3 kills. Flies the bombers in from the bottom side, and he just doesn't have it. My Vamps take care of it. The thing is, you might be wondering, oh, Postal, how on earth did you score a hit? I wasn't aiming at that factory. I'm aiming here at these missile towers, and the Intimidator is just missing. So I know, especially with an early non-veteran Intimidator, if you aim early, now I can't aim down here because of the low elevation, but if I aim at these missile towers, it's likely to actually hit back here. So I'm hoping at this point I have enough veterancy on this to be able to hit some more worthwhile targets in the back. More bombers coming in. I've got my Vamps already in position. He seems to like taking this avenue down here. I really should be building some flaks and missile towers down here. I know he's going to come in from the back. I bring in more Vamps. Let him spread. But didn't get them in position in time. He takes out the Intimidator. Marks the advance there. And I've got another Intimidator on the way that he has not marked. My nuke is slowly being built at this point. So now he's also stopped his Hawk production. He's mostly focusing on advanced bombers. So in come the stacks. I bombed the metal extractor, not the advanced facility, but the stack actually flew off the top of the screen. I believe I still have it at this point. Maybe not. There goes the fusion. There goes the advance. There goes a pair of carriers. Takes care of the advance on the hill. You got a little bit of this lag issue where where stuff just survives a little too long. That happens sometimes. He's playing from the Netherlands, so again, he just hasn't scouted or moved up here. I have an anti-nuke up here as well. And he's working on some big berthas of his own. I've got more under construction here, and I'm still having trouble spending all my metal. He sends more of his Hawks and his Scouts. And now he's sending in his Hawks to go after this Intimidator. You see the Hawks coming in, I go to intercept. But they'll find their target. They do, but he loses a ton of his Hawks on that. Barely gets any of my Vamps. Start clearing out the anti-air on the front line here. Didn't want to trade all my Vamps and fully commit at that point. He's working on a Scarab, so he's going to get his own anti-nuke. He's got some mobile flaks here too. Try and help protect him from the Vamps. Flaks are worthwhile in OTA. Might not seem like it sometimes. I'm actually stalling energy a little bit. I'm falling further behind in metal, but I think at this point I'm being more efficient. So I spy a Big Bertha, and I immediately take a stack of bombers. Before it gets a single shot off, it's dead. And leaves no wreck. And I've got another Intimidator up, and my air plants that he bombed are back up here. Now, unfortunately, I've only got one advanced construction vehicle on that one, so it's not going to be doing all that much. So at this point, our economies are both pretty big. I'm sitting around 150. It looks like it says he's around 200 or so. Got another Moho up here. So I marked out 2 fusions. I've got a nice line right there. You see I've got my own Cobra right there for some flak action. Bringing in the Vamps. Come to the top, take out his missile towers. And now I've actually cleared a nice little space in here. Very little anti-air. Because he hasn't been building the Hawks, he's been focusing on getting bombers. I've got a bit of an advantage there. brings us in, takes out an Intimidator, but doesn't get one, so I have another Intimidator that's still alive. All of his Hawks are down, and I now have the Vamp advantage. Still hasn't marked or done anything about anything on my north side. See how that just looks like one bomber? That was just a miss right there. I should have absolutely hit that. So that was a lousy run. I did pick up one fusion, but that's just not enough. And in come the Thuds to try and take the territory over here that my Hawks cleared. Up against the Phalanxes here. So he's thinning out my Hawks, but it's not going to be enough. He doesn't have enough of his missile towers in there. He's got a pair of flankers. They're actually doing a decent amount of work. Let's see here. Some 30 kills on that flanker. He says, I can't believe I forgot about going BB, although I don't know if it would have done him much good. He's got bombers going in after mine. I've got Thuds marching down on him. Comes, my Vamps are busy, so he's going to have a free run with the Intimidator here, and he doesn't get it. I mark his fresh BB that just came up. Of course, I have a solution for that right here. This commander comes out for a D-gun. I bring in a bomber stack. Completely miss. But the stack survived, of course, was able to come back on. I don't get that. Now this BB's actually shooting at me, but I have a second stack right here for that. He says it's kind of lame how I can't see how many bombers there are. And I say, bomber stack. Yes, you can see this has basically just been a highlight reel of what the stacks are capable of. We got 2 Intimidators up. They're not shooting. I don't know why. Completely wiped out the north side of his base here. So now the game has certainly turned in my favor. But I won't count him out until he counts himself out. He brings in his Hawks, try and prevent the Thuds from getting in there. It says he's at 34 metal now, so his income is severely dropped because I wiped out all of his metal numbers. So he's got severely, he's going to be sparking. He says F it, he sets the game to 10, and victory is mine. The series moves to 3-3, and the best of 10 continues. So that is Lusch Puppy. I think that might be the first Lusch Puppy game I've casted actually for this channel. So it's a very, very fun map. I actually really enjoy the back and forth. It's got way more resources than the past, even though it actually plays, you know, because there's a barrier between you and the other person. It actually plays, you know, kind of similarly with the turn-based strategy nature of it. But the difference here, of course, again, the resources get bigger, BBs are actually in play, and Core has the advantage of being able to walk Thuds over the hill. ARM just doesn't have any units that can climb like that. So you can see here, I accessed a ton of metal, so did FFAx. We just had really a lot of trouble with all the factories that we were bombing, staying on top of using our resources. Plus, Core, again, has that limitation of only being able to fit 3 or 4 advanced construction vehicles around each air facility. So, but regardless, you can see in the end, I was able to outproduce him in Vamps, and was able just to slowly grind him down with the stacks of bombers. You can see how many bombers he had versus how many I had. And the difference that it played. I never had to spend any resources on advanced bombers. I was able to do everything I needed to do with just the shadows. So, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that trip down down to TA history there. The series is tied up now at 3-3, going into Aprox's picks for the next game. So hope you all will join me for that one. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you please do so. Hit the like button and leave a comment if you want me to be if you want to nerf stacks, and that would be something I don't approve of for OTA. Anyway,